Welcome to another version of House of Wisdom's Knife Reviews, where we look at a variety of knives from a variety of manufacturers. And today's knife is from Viper Knives. It is a design by Jesper Voxnäs called the Odino. Viper Knives is based in Italy, and the designer is a Danish designer, Jesper Voxnäs. The knife is named after the Norse god Odin, the Odino. The knife has been in production since 2015. Voxnäs has several collaborative efforts with Viper Knives. The Kiyomi, which is a 3.1-inch blade, and the Fortis, which has a 3.5-inch blade. Both are larger than this knife. The specifications of this knife include a blade length of 2.875 inches. The handle length is 4.375 inches, giving a total knife length of 7.25 inches. The weight of the knife is 4.35 ounces, and we have several knives for comparison. Firstly, we have the Brous Blades Bionic, which is a little smaller. Next, we have the Ontario Carter Prime, which is a larger knife. Then we have the Hinder XM18 3-inch blade, which is a little smaller. We have the Boker Urban Trapper, which is longer. The Spyderco Para 3 is a little smaller also. So there are some size comparisons. Oh, I also wanted to compare one of my new knives, the Brian Nadeau Mini Typhoon, which is a little larger. The blade on the knife is made of Böhler N690CO. The blade is a clip point blade and has a high flat ground. There's no jimping or chamfering on the blade. The blade has a black coating and is in a typical Vox broad blade style. The method of deployment of the knife is by the oval thumb stud. It flips out very nicely. The back spacer of the knife is titanium and has an integrated lanyard hole, typical of Voxnäs design. The pivot runs on a cage thrust bearing and has steel races. I have a picture of it I'll display for you. The lock is a frame lock. There's no lock bar insert or over travel stop, but the lock has no stick at all whatsoever. The pocket clip of the knife is a loop-over pocket clip with a generous ramp. It slides into the pant very easily. One of the downsides is that they use a rounded screw head rather than a flat screw, so it takes away a little bit of the height that should be used for getting the end of the pant pocket into it. The ergonomics of the knife are wonderful. It's a nice broad knife and has plenty of room for your hand. And the action, as I've mentioned, is stellar. It really flips out nicely. So what is my impression of the Viper Odino? I really like it. Are there opportunities for improvement? Certainly. For example, he could have put a over travel stop and a stainless steel lock bar insert on the knife. It doesn't have any lock bar stick, but oftentimes the carbonization of a titanium lock bar will wear off over time and you will get lock bar stick later on. The other thing is the knife is a little heavier and chunkier than I usually buy. I went ahead and got it anyway because the alternatives were a little bit even larger and heavier. The clip design also, as you can tell, the clip is not embedded and it has a round head screw so that 50% of the area that your pants should be going in is occupied by those two items. I'll give you an example of a clip I think is done a little bit better. This is the Boker Urban Trapper, and as you can tell, they milled away an area and embedded the clip, and they used flat-headed screws rather than round-headed screws. On this knife, it's a surface-mounted clip rather than having it milled and embedded, and the screw head is rounded rather than flat, so it could have been better executed, much like the Boker Urban Trapper. But what do I like about it? Really, I like the clip overall. It's got a generous ramp, and it's got a loop over fashion, which gives you a deep carry, and it has this clever little hole that the tab goes into so that it can be secured with just one screw and doesn't rotate. So I really like the clip overall. I just think they could have made that one improvement. The other thing I like about the knife is that you can buy a Jesper Voxness design for around $200. There are other companies that make Voxness designs. For example, CRKT makes a Voxness design, but it has a steel handle and it uses HCR 13 MOV steel. Really, having a knife with that kind of steel is a little like kissing your sister. It technically is a knife, but it's just not as fun as it could be. Boker makes the F3 with better materials, but Boker quality can be a little sketchy. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not good. Currently on Knife Center, they have only one real custom Voxness knife for sale, the F9 Flipper, and it goes for $1,425. It has a blade that's less than 2.5 inches long, and you ask yourself, is this knife, this custom knife, really 9 times better than this Viper Odino? For me, the answer was no. And he had a table at Blade Show, and I just had to walk by it as I do many knife manufacturers with their customs that they cost over $1,000 and his cost over $1,400. So I thought, I'll just settle for the Odino Viper. So if you're looking for the coolness of a Voxness design language, the broad blade, the oval thumb hole, the integrated lanyard hole, and the backspacer with the handle cutaways so that you can access it. Plus, this knife has quality materials and a terrific mechanical function. So ask yourself, would you rather spend $200 for a production mid-tech like this that has the Voxness language, or would you rather spend $1,400 for the custom? Well, for me, the answer was the Viper version. It's so good, I just couldn't justify getting the custom. If you feel that way too, then maybe the Viper Odino is the knife for you. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and we'll see you on another House of Wisdom knife video.